My name's Johnny. I'm an 18-year-old college student. Right after enrolling, my club members invited me to go on a picnic with my friend Tony. When we got to the park where we planned to meet, about 10 people, both guys and girls, had already gathered. They were having a good time, sitting on leisure sheets. But then some sketchy-looking guys passed by, clicked their tongues at us and said, "Noisy brats. What are you, monkeys?" No one else seemed to hear them though, so I decided not to let it bother me either. Partway through, we started running low on drinks. Tony and I were told to go buy more. But on the way, we ran into those sketchy guys from earlier. I was hoping they wouldn't notice us, but apparently they did. They approached us with smirks on their faces. Then the skinny one among them purposely bumped into me. It happened so suddenly that I couldn't avoid it. "Ow. What the hell are you doing?" The skinny guy said that while exaggeratedly rubbing the arm he bumped me with. I thought, hey, I'm the one who's hurting here. What's with these people? But I just silently stared at the skinny guy. Then the chubby guy next to the skinny one piped up, "Are you okay?" "Whoa, that looks painful. What a farce," I thought. But since I did bump into him, I felt bad ignoring it completely. Are you alright?" I asked. The skinny guy looked at me with a smirk. "Oh man, this is bad. You broke my arm. Hey, pay me $60,000. He said that while still rubbing his arm. I thought, so that's what this is about. Sigh, I just had to catch the attention of some weirdos. But I tried to respond calmly. "I'm sorry. When it looked like I might bump into you, I tried to avoid it at the last second but didn't make it in time. But it's not broken, right? You've been moving your arm this whole time." As soon as I said that, the skinny guy's face turned bright red as if it caught fire and he started yelling. "Huh? You're a cheeky brat, aren't you? You bump into someone and then give them that attitude. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? If I say it's broken, it's broken. Don't you talk back to me." He was being totally unreasonable. The chubby guy chimed in too. "That's right. If Mr. Smith says it's broken, then of course it's broken. You can't weasel your way out of this by talking nonsense." I was so appalled that I didn't even feel like arguing back anymore. "Right, I see. Well then, let's go to the hospital. I'll accompany you." When I said that, they got even angrier and started shouting, "I ain't going to no hospital. That's too much of a hassle. You just gotta pay me $60,000 and we'll call it even." "Huh? You're not going to the hospital? Then you don't need $60,000, right? Since there won't be any medical bills." "Huh? Are you stupid? The $60,000 Mr. Smith is asking for isn't for medical bills. It's consolation money. Pay up if you get it. It's like Johnson said. He's been asking for $60,000 in consolation from the start. Don't go assuming things on your own. Listen up. In times like these, you are supposed to say sorry and cough up the consolation money on the spot. That's how adults handle things. A kid like you probably wouldn't get it though." Mr. Smith laughed at me mockingly as he said that. The chubby Mr. Johnson rudely added, "Mr. Smith is absolutely right. We're going out of our way to teach a wet-behind-the-ears kid like you the rules of adulthood. You ought to be grateful." Tony, who had been watching everything, whispered to me in a panic, "Hey, you okay? Want me to go get the people?" I looked at Tony and bluffed, "It's fine, thanks. I don't want to get the other club members involved in this. I'll figure something out." But honestly, I had no idea what to do. I didn't want to cause trouble for my parents or friends. But I also didn't want to hand over $60,000 to guys like these. Besides, it's not an amount I could produce right away anyway. For the time being, I decided to see how they would respond. "You said you're not going to the hospital, but if you don't go, there's no way to know for sure if it's actually broken, right? Like you said, I'm a kid, so I can't just cough up a huge sum of money without being certain." "Well, I don't have $60,000 to begin with though. You really are a cheeky brat. We're telling you none of that matters. If I tell you to pay up, then you pay up. How many times do I gotta say it? Sheesh. If you don't got the money, go beg your parents or borrow it from your little friend there. But I don't want to trouble my parents or friends. Do I look like I give a crap? You're the one who did this. Don't make me beat the crap out of you, punk. Hey now, don't say such scary things. Oh, I know. I'll become your underling. Huh? Don't go sprouting nonsense, you brat. We don't need a pampered kid like you in our family. Family? What's a family? You don't even know that. Sheesh, you're such a clueless kid. A family is what we call a mafia organization. We're with the DeSalvo family. We live in a different world than you punks. So you guys are mafia, huh? Is the DeSalvo family a big organization? The DeSalvo family is one of the top 3 biggest organizations around here. You get it, kid? If you don't pay me the $60,000 right now, you're gonna make an enemy out of the DeSalvo family. That sounds terrifying. Damn right it does. So just shut up and pay the $60,000. I'd love to, but I just can't bring myself to ask my parents or friends to pay it. Oh, I know. Could I pay in installments maybe? When I said that, Smith and Johnson both let out a sigh. Ick. Mr. Smith, this kid is hopeless. He doesn't get his position at all. Yeah, I've never seen someone not understand after we explained it so clearly. He must be a real dumbass. What should we do? Rough him up a bit here? Or should we just take him to the office already? Let's see. Oh, all right, let's do this. Hey, you over there. Smith pointed at Tony. Tony pointed to himself, saying, huh? You mean me? Yeah, you. Come with us for a bit. Smith grabbed Tony's arm as he said that. Even I couldn't stay silent at this. Hey, what are you doing? Tony has nothing to do with this. Oh, he's got nothing to do with it, all right. But since you were taking your sweet time, we decided we're gonna take your little friend here. You should be happy. We're gonna involve the friend you didn't want to cause trouble for and everything. Too bad for you. The world doesn't always go the way you want it to. Smith and Johnson smirked at me with nasty expressions. Isn't this way of doing things unfair? I never said I wouldn't pay. Shut it. We're telling you to pay now. It's your fault for ignoring us that it's come to this. No way. At least let Tony go. If you're gonna involve Tony, I won't pay either. Do what you want. But I can't guarantee what's gonna happen to him then. Next time you might see him is 60 years from now up in heaven maybe. They laughed as they said that. Tony looked at me with frightened eyes. This was no longer a situation where I could leisurely negotiate. I decided to use my last resort that I least wanted to use. All right, I understand. I'm sorry. I'll get the $60,000 ready right now. Can I call my dad real quick? I don't have that kind of money on me. I took out my smartphone as I said that. They watched me and laughed, saying, looks like he finally gets the situation he's in. Yeah, go ahead and call. Have him get the money and come here right away. It's lame that you're relying on your parents in the end. Both Smith and Johnson mocked me with smirks. I called my dad. He picked up before it even rang 3 times. Well, this is rare, getting a call from Johnny. What's up? Yeah, I kinda got myself into a sticky situation. I need your help. A sticky situation. What happened? Where are you now? Since I'd almost never asked my dad for help, he seemed to pick up that it was serious right away. I'm at Green Park right now. You know, the park near my college. I was having a picnic there, but I accidentally bumped into someone. The guy claims his bone is broken and is demanding $60,000 in consolation money. He said if I don't pay right now, he's gonna take my friend to their office. I think they're your underlings. They say they're with the DeSalvo family. I'm really sorry for the trouble, but I can't handle this alone. Can you come right away? My dad listened to my story in silence until the end, then simply said, got it. I'll be right there, and hung up. Huh? Hey, wait a sec. Who the hell is your dad? Smith, who was listening to the call right next to me, asked with a perplexed expression. I think you'll see when he gets here. He said he'd come right away, so could you wait a bit? Mr. Smith, I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Let's get out of here before this kid's old man shows up. Johnson got between me and Smith and tried to persuade Smith. Smith seemed to be thinking it over with a grim look on his face. You can run if you want, but I already know your family and names. So I think it's better for you to wait here than to run. Don't you think so, Mr. Smith and Mr. Johnson of the DeSalvo family? When I told them that with a smile, both Smith and Johnson gulped nervously as cold sweat ran down their faces. Fine, we'll wait. This might just be a bluff anyway. Yeah, I'm sure it's a bluff. The two of them seemed to be trying to calm themselves down as they said that. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of a car stopping nearby, and my dad got out. Dad walked over silently and stopped in front of me, glancing at Smith and Johnson. Are those the guys? The ones who demanded consolation money from you? Yes. I wanted to resolve it on my own somehow, but I'm sorry for getting you involved, Dad. Don't worry about it. More importantly, let's get your friend released. Hey, you guys. What do you want? Dragging an unrelated civilian into this is a pretty lame move. Let the kid go right now. Dad glared at Smith as he said that. Smith seemed to realize who my dad was and started trembling all over. Oh, sure. Didn't you hear me? Let the kid go. Why, yes, sir. Right away, sir. Smith replied in a shrill voice and immediately released Tony. Once freed, Tony came over to me right away. Thanks, man. I know you didn't want to cause trouble for your folks, but you still called them for me. But seriously, who the heck is your dad to make the mafia cower like that? Well, to put it simply, he's in the same line of work, I guess. What? You mean the mafia? For real? So you're the son of a mafioso, Johnny? Yeah, sorry I never told you. No worries, man. But why are those guys so scared then? Aren't they like colleagues? Actually, they're not quite colleagues. While I was trying to figure out how to explain it to Tony, Johnson, who had been silently confused about the situation, spoke to the trembling Smith. Mr. Smith, why are you shaking so much? Who the heck is that guy? You know him. I can tell he's one of us from his aura, but... Smith screamed at the airheaded Johnson, his face bright red. Are you an idiot? Watch your mouth. That man is the boss of the Falcone family. At first Johnson just looked at Smith blankly, but gradually seemed to understand and turned pale just like Smith. What? The boss of the Falcone family? Hold on, isn't that really bad? Of course it is. You're just realizing that now. We've been in deep shit. Told that by Smith, Johnson also started trembling. Paying no mind to the two of them, my dad approached them. I heard you guys took good care of my son. Dad's voice was very low and resonant. Just hearing it made me feel like I was being scolded too. No, not at all. It was us who were taken care of by your esteemed son. He's quite the clever young master. Saying that, Smith collapsed to the ground and started to apologize deeply. That's odd. It's different from the story I heard from my son. Didn't you say you wanted consolation money because your bone was broken? No. That was, just a bit of playful banter. A jest, if you will. Oh, so you said it in jest. To my son. We're sorry. We're so sorry. We had no idea he was your honored son and did something so outrageous. To think we would end up troubling you. Smith was on the verge of tears as he relentlessly apologized. You guys said you were with the DeSalvo family, right? What are your names? Yes, I'm Smith from the DeSalvo family. Likewise, I'm Johnson from the DeSalvo family. Smith and Johnson, I'm gonna have a talk with the higher-ups in the DeSalvo family about this, you hear? Yes, we understand. Well, depending on how hard you guys work from now on, I might change what I tell them. Smith and Johnson were dumbfounded by my dad's unexpected words. My dad loves funny things and has always had a habit of saying outrageous stuff out of the blue. Meaning what exactly? Just what I said. If you guys do what I say from now on, I'm thinking of changing the contents of my report a bit. If I report this as is, you could face any kind of punishment, and it wouldn't be surprising. Depending on how hard you work, I might change it to a report that'll let you off with just a minor punishment. You get me? Smith and Johnson answered after a brief pause. Yes, sir. We mostly understand. Please take care of us. So you're giving us a chance, right? That makes me so happy. Please treat us well. There, good boys. All right then, first off, tell me what you're bad at. What we're bad at. If I had to say, I'm bad at singing. I'm honestly a bit of a lightweight when it comes to booze. I see. All right, you two, let's go to karaoke right now. Huh? Right now? Both Smith and Johnson were bewildered. Well, of course they were. I was bewildered too. Hey Dad, what do you mean you're taking them to karaoke right now? What, Johnny, you want to come too? Then how about bringing your buddy there along? Huh? Me? If it's okay for me to go, then of course I'd be happy to join. And so, it was decided that we'd go to karaoke with this nonsensical group. Tony and I had been on our way to buy drinks, So we had to stop by the picnic to drop off the drinks before meeting up with the others. When we got there, hell had already broken loose. Smith, sing. Johnson, drink. My dad was having a blast all by himself. Smith was mumbling his singing without any confidence. Johnson was passed out drunk, slumped over the table. Hey Johnny, it's only been like 30 minutes since we split up with your old man and them, right? What the heck happened? I'd like to know that myself. Hey Dad, what the hell is all this? What do you mean what happened? I'm just helping these two overcome their weaknesses, that's all. Right, Smith? Yes sir. He's just been making me sing the same song over and over to somehow fix my tone deafness. That's crazy strict. No it's not. If you just put in the numbers, tone deafness goes away in no time. Then what about Johnson over there looking half dead? I just had him drink a few cups, of course, of brandy. Brandy. You could at least started him off with something a bit weaker. When it comes to booze, you get stronger the more wasted you get. I'm gonna make Johnson puke his guts out. My dad said that, looking like he was having the time of his life. Smith and Tony were clearly a bit weirded out. I thought a mafia boss would be more scary, but your dad is scary in a whole different way, Johnny. Right. My old man's always been like this. You'd think a boss would be more dignified, but that's just for show with my dad. In reality, he's like a prank-loving kid who always has to be the boss. This time too, he's doing whatever he wants because he knows Smith and Johnson can't defy him. I thought your dad was doing this for you, but I guess not really, huh? I'm sure part of it is for me, but there's no doubt this worked out nicely for my old man too. While Tony and I were talking about that, Johnson, who had been passed out, woke up. My dad immediately called out to him. Oh, Johnson, you're up. You recover fast, don't you? At this rate you'll be a regular drinker in no time. All right, let's do another round of brandy. Please spare me, I'm gonna puke. Oh really? Then how about some whiskey? Whiskey on the rocks is great. Saying that, my dad tried to make Johnson drink his own whiskey. Johnson seemed to have given up and accepted my dad's whiskey. The mafia sure has it rough. If my boss at work did that to me, I might flip out. Well, in this case, it's less of a boss and more like an important client they messed up with, so it's kinda like entertaining them to get back in their good graces. They can't really refuse so easily. I see. Yeah, I guess they really can't refuse when you put it that way. Gotta keep drinking. Right. Tony and I watched Johnson being forced to keep drinking by my dad while we talked about that. Just then, Smith's singing voice that had been playing like background music stopped. I finished repeating it 10 times. Apparently Smith had been made to sing the same song 10 times in a row. I see. Good work. Let's see the results then. Saying that, my dad put in the scoring. If you can get 90 points or higher, you're done. But if it's under 90 points, you gotta do another 10 times. 90 points. No way, that's impossible. I usually get like 60 points, you know. There's no way I can get 90 points. Sure you can. Believe in yourself. You just sang this song 10 times in a row, didn't you? You must have gotten way better. No way I could get better that easily. Oh, you think you're in a position to talk back? My dad said that, changing his expression. Smith immediately stiffened up. I'm sorry. I got carried away. I'll sing right away. Saying that, Smith started singing. A few hours passed. Johnson was completely wasted. Smith's throat was shot and he couldn't make a sound anymore, and my dad seemed to be getting bored of the situation. Dad, haven't you had enough? You had plenty of fun, right? I feel pretty refreshed after seeing these two go through hell too. Yeah, I guess. Well, I had more fun than I expected, but it's still not enough. Oh, I know. I'll call the DeSalvo family. Smith was in a panic, but he couldn't make a sound and of course couldn't defy my dad, so he just kept opening and closing his mouth with a look like he wanted to say something. My dad took out his smartphone, his eyes sparkling as if he had found something new and fun to do. Even if you do call the DeSalvo family, it's just gonna be the report from earlier, right? Why do you look so excited? Well, it's not every day I get to call the DeSalvo family directly. I've got a feeling something fun is about to happen. Good for you then. Seeing my dad's sparkling eyes, I thought, he's probably not gonna say anything good, and decided to shamelessly eavesdrop on my dad's call. When the call started, my dad used a boss-like deep voice and gave a very proper-sounding self-introduction, saying, "I'm sorry to bother you when you're busy. I'm the boss of the Falcone family. Is this the boss of the DeSalvo family?" I couldn't hear the other person's voice, but judging from my dad's reactions, the other person seemed to be tremendously surprised. Well, of course they would be. Anyone would be surprised to suddenly get a call from a big shot. Ha ha ha. Don't be so surprised. Next to my dad, who was saying such carefree things, Smith looked like he was about to collapse as he desperately tried to eavesdrop on the conversation. Well, I think he could hear even without doing that though. Actually, I have a favor to ask. Earlier today, my son got involved with your guys Smith and Johnson. Apparently they demanded he pay $60,000 just for bumping into them a little. Well, the misunderstanding was cleared up as soon as I arrived though. When my dad said that, the person on the other end of the phone started yelling "I'm so sorry" in a loud voice. Even though they weren't right in front of me, I could vividly imagine their appearance and couldn't help but laugh. No need to apologize. Luckily no one was hurt. But you see, my son's friend got dragged into it too, and that kid's a civilian. To be honest, I don't think it's right to involve a completely unrelated civilian. So I was thinking that I want Smith and Johnson to reflect on their actions, and I had an idea of how to do that. You guys run a place called Serenity Home, right? You're short on staff right now, aren't you? I want you to have Smith and Johnson work there for a set period of time. Let's say, until they earn the $60,000 they told my son to pay. If the two of them work, the home will be grateful to have more staff, and will be happy to see that the two of them are clearly reflecting on their actions. It's a win-win, don't you think? I could only understand that my dad was trying to make the two of them work for free, but I listened to that conversation while feeling a bit sorry for both of them. The DeSalvo family seemed to happily agree, relieved to have it settled with that. My dad gleefully said, "Then it's settled. I'm counting on you. I'll come visit Serenity Home while the two of them are working there," and hung up the phone. Then he looked at Smith and Johnson and told them, "So that's how it is. Starting tomorrow, you two are staff at Serenity Home." Johnson was passed out so he couldn't hear it all, but Smith said with a pale face, "Starting tomorrow. I'm not too good with that place. Doesn't it have a unique smell and stuff?" His voice was hoarse, but it seemed to be coming out a bit now. My dad responded to that amicably. "Well, this is for you to reflect. If you're not reflecting, you don't have to go. But if that's the case, you better be prepared to make an enemy of the Falcone family and the DeSalvo family." My dad said that with an even bigger smile, and even I, who wasn't being smiled at, felt a chill down my spine. There's no way anyone could choose not to go after being told that. "We'll do our very best." Smith mumbled that, looking like he was about to cry. "Yeah, work hard. I'll come and say hello to cheer you on." My dad said that, sounding like he was having fun. "Your dad is definitely a sadist." Yeah, no doubt about that. Just as everyone's spirits besides my dad's were falling, Johnson finally woke up. "Huh? Where was this again?" Johnson spoke to Smith while still half asleep. "You idiot. Did you forget?" Being told that by Smith, Johnson hurriedly looked around. Then his eyes met my dad's, and Johnson seemed to remember everything. He bowed his head profusely to my dad. I'm so sorry. Looks like I fell asleep." "Don't worry about it. I'm the one who made you drink. More importantly, Johnson, starting tomorrow, you and Smith are staff at Serenity Home." "What? Serenity Home? How did that happen?" Johnson was utterly shocked to be told that right after waking up. "Well, get the details from Smith. Also, I'm sure someone from the DeSalvo family will tell you too, so don't worry. But make sure you do a good job. Work hard." "Yes, sir," Johnson answered with a face that clearly showed he didn't understand at all. Next to him, Smith was silently making a face of despair. "All right, I'm sure you two have an early start tomorrow, so let's call it a night. Thanks for heading out." "Huh? We can go home." "Of course. Thank you so much." "Excuse us then." "Come on, Smith, let's get home quick." "Yeah, excuse us." Saying that, the two of them left. "Okay, let's head home too. I'll give you a ride." "Thanks." And so, we were finally able to go home too. A few days later, my dad was relaxing at home for the first time in a while, so I decided to ask him point blank about Smith and Johnson the other day. What ended up happening with them? What's Serenity Home? Oh, Serenity Home is a nursing home run by the DeSalvo family. Those two are working there as caregivers now. According to my dad, the two of them got a thorough scolding when they went back to the DeSalvo family after that. And then they were told to shape up and sent to Serenity Home as caregivers, which is the toughest position even among the staff. At first, they couldn't do meal assistance or toilet assistance well at all, and they both worked while complaining. But even so, the elderly would say thank you and express their gratitude. So before long, they started feeling happy every time they were thanked. Recently, they even feel a sense of purpose in their caregiver work and are considering quitting the mafia. Smith has even started studying to get his caregiver certification. I'm sure no one thought things would turn out like this, but if they're enjoying their work, that's the best outcome. When my dad went to check on them the other day, they were apparently working so energetically that you wouldn't think they were the same people from open mic nights. It's like I helped them find their calling, so I'm thinking that they should come thank me.